Keir Starmer is saying he's fed up with all the lies and the mistruths that have been said around the grooming gangs, this, that and the third. So guys, we're going to watch this video because I'm hoping that Keir Starmer brings some receipts. Because at this minute, I am absolutely fuming with Keir Starmer on the child gangs, or the child grooming gangs rather, and on his links with Jimmy Savile. Because there are a lot of questions that still need to be answered. So guys, let's hope he's going to answer them in this retort. So this is a Sky News. I think it was done earlier today. So I haven't watched it. So let's see if he brings some receipts.
On the question of Elon Musk, look, I think most people are more interested in what's going to happen to the NHS, frankly, than what's happening on Twitter. But you asked me a really important question that's been in the news for the last few days. I am going to, with permission, just answer it quite fully.
So Keir Starmer says he's going to answer it quite fully. So let's hope he brings these receipts, because he was the DPP for 5 long years when a lot of these cases were occurring. So yeah, he headed up the CPS, etc. So let's see what he's going to say.
Because it is a really important set of issues. And let me start with this. Child sexual exploitation is utterly sickening, utterly sickening. And for many, many years, too many victims have been completely let down by perverse ideas about community relations, or by the idea that institutions must be protected above all else. And they've not been listened to and they've not been heard.
So why have Labour tried to stop an inquiry into Oldham? Why have they literally tried to stop it? What was it, Jess Phillips? And it's only because of people going online and absolutely letting people know of their furore, their outrage at this, that this has come to the fore now. Keir Starmer wouldn't want to talk to this. He didn't, and he wouldn't have wanted to talk to this. Remember Newsnight? That was silenced. What was that, around the 2011, 2012, the Newsnight report? We never got to see what was in that report, did we? Because it was pulled at the 12th hour, at the 11th hour.
And when I was chief prosecutor for 5 years, I tackled that head on because I could see what was happening. And that's why I reopened cases that had been closed.
I don't like that. So what about the Jimmy Savile case? Really? That was a high profile case. And no matter what he says, he would have been on that like a fly around the proverbial. I'm telling you, anyone who would have seen Jimmy Savile come on their desk would have seen that, or they would just definitely flick through the case. They definitely would have flicked through the case. So all this nonsense about he never saw it, he didn't touch it, nah, that's nonsense. I'm not buying it, people.
And supposedly finished. I brought the first major prosecution of an Asian grooming gang.
Hang on, let's go back.
In the particular case, it was in Rochdale, but it was the first of its kind. There were many that then followed that format. I changed the whole prosecution approach because I wanted to challenge, and did challenge, the myths and stereotypes that were stopping those victims being heard. So we changed the entire approach, not without criticism at the time, I might add. And when I left office, we had the highest number of child sexual abuse cases being prosecuted on record. Now, that record is not secret. As a public servant, it's there for all of you or everybody to see.
So right now, we're not being allowed to see how many of these immigrants that were involved in these cases have been deported. They're telling us we're not allowed to see the figures. I wonder why that is, people. Oh, hang on, I'm just going on the volume here. What's going on here? I
also call for mandatory. It's board is not secret. As a public servant, it's there for all of you or everybody to see. I also call for mandatory reporting of child sexual abuse. I called for that a decade ago. The Tories did nothing about that for those 10 long years, including when the J report came out nearly 3 years ago now. Central plank, mandatory reporting, still hasn't been done. We're going to do it. But let's just to bring it in closer, and I will answer you on Jess Phillips in particular. because those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible.
This just goes back to how he talks his nonsense around what was going on in the height of the summer, people spreading lies and disinformation. Well, if people are spreading lies and disinformation, then give us the receipts. Give us the receipts. A lot of us are absolutely fuming because heads have been banged together for so many years, asking for these things to be dealt out in public inquiries where questions can be asked and people can be asked, what did you know? When did you know? And who knew what, when, and how?
Spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible. They're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves.
Absolute rubbish. I've got a young son. I'm so glad I don't have a daughter. But any parent, a parent of a son or a daughter, young child, is absolutely interested in what is going on with their children. Because as a parent, you would move heaven and earth if someone attacked, someone interfered with, someone did something to your child. This man is talking absolute nonsense. If I was a parent, I would leave no stone unturned. There would be no hiding place in this world for anyone who messes with my child. So what Keir Starmer is saying is an absolute phony baloney.
Not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice.
So guys, I haven't really delved into anything around the Tommy Robinson story, so I'm going to delve into that a bit more. But the only thing I know about, or I've heard about Tommy Robinson, was Tommy Robinson for years has been championing the cause of young children who've been abused by child grooming gangs. That's all I know about Tommy Robinson. Guys, let me know down here in the comment section. Am I right? Am I wrong? All I know about Tommy Robinson is he has been trying to put this into the public eye. But his attempts have fallen on deaf ears, and his attempts have been basically held back at arm's length. For what reason, I don't know. So that's all I'm going to say about Tommy Robinson.
In victims, they're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case. A gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote.
So what Starmer just said there, people, I have no idea if that's true or false. Please let me know down here in the comment section. Is Starmer telling... Just let me know in the comment section.
And those attacking Jess Phillips, who I'm proud to call a colleague and a friend, not protecting victims. Jess Phillips has done 1,000 times more than they've even dreamt about when it comes to protecting victims of sexual abuse throughout her entire career. And so just as I took on the criminal justice system and the institutions when I was chief prosecutor, I'm prepared to call out this for what it is. We've seen this playbook.
I'm amazed he didn't say this is far-right buggery. Call it out for what it is.
I'm prepared to call out this for what it is. We've seen this playbook many times, whipping up of intimidation and threats of violence, hoping that the media will amplify it. Now, Jess Phillips does not need me or anybody else to speak on her behalf.
So guys, I'm just going to say something before we go back. So the best way to stop rumours and all sorts of things going like wildfire over the internet, etc., 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 is to open up a clear and basically, I can't even think of the word is, but a clear public inquiry, which is done by someone who has no leaning one way or another. And that public inquiry should dig deep into all of these cases, into all of these people. Dig deep into what did Keir Starmer know, when did he know, and why were cases sometimes not given up to the CPS. Everything should be put on the table from all angles, whether you're Tory, whether you're Labour, whatever. That is the only way for us to find out the truth, because this has been swirling around for decades. And basically, we are at the end of our tether. We are angry. We are angrier than anything you can imagine. We just want to know the truth. We want to know who is telling the truth, who is lying to us about our children, who is lying. That's all we want to know. And we want to know it now.
Of violence, hoping that the media will amplify it. Now, Jess Phillips does not need me or anybody else to speak on her behalf. But when the poison of the far right leads to...
He had to say the far right, didn't he? I said a few minutes ago he's going to talk all this far right thuggery. It's nothing to do with the far right. If someone is molesting your child, I don't care if you're from the right, the centre or the left. You want to know the truth, and you want those persons, whether it's a network of people, whether they are immigrants, whether they are citizens, whether they are people from institutions. Because remember, we have people, say, for instance, from the church. We have people who are meant to be safeguarding children, like children's homes. We have people from all areas that have been implicated in areas of abusing children. Not just the grooming gangs. We want to know it all, and we want to know it all now. And he's talking about far right thuggery and things from the far right. Absolute twaddle.
But when the poison of the far right leads to serious threats to Jess Phillips and others, then in my book, a line has been crossed.
What about the serious threats to all the young girls? The young girls who have been victims to abuse, victims of much worse, SA and other worse things that I can't even say on YouTube. What about them? What about them?
And others, then in my book, a line has been crossed. I enjoy the cut and thrust of politics, the robust debate that we must have, but that's got to be based on facts and truth, not on lies.
If you want facts and truth, then give us the evidence. You have the receipts. Let us see the receipts. Let us see the evidence. Let us see that Newsnight programme that was pulled at the 11th hour. Let us see all the facts. Put them all on the table. Let everything be transparent.
Not on those who are so desperate for attention that they're prepared to debase themselves and their country. So this government will get on with the job of protecting victims, including child sexual abuse, mandatory reporting, accelerating the processes. But what I won't tolerate is this discussion and debate based on lies without calling it out.
So he's calling out lies, but where are the receipts? Where's the evidence? Where's the truth?
What I won't tolerate is politicians jumping on the bandwagon simply to get attention, when those politicians sat in government for 14 long years, tweeting, talking, but not doing anything about it. Now,
so he's making it political himself.
So desperate for attention that they're amplifying what the far right is saying.
Starmer doesn't get it. The way this man moves is just so snaky. There are more questions than answers whenever Starmer opens his mouth. It's nothing to do with political. He doesn't get it. These questions need to be answered, and they are being asked by the people of this country. The citizens of this country are fed up with grooming gangs. They're fed up with all these cases against children, whether they are from grooming gangs, whether they are from people from the church, whether they are from people who are meant to be running children's homes, whether they are from other areas, whether they even go higher up. We want to know, and we want to know now. It's nothing to do with political. It is to do with our children, our children. We want to know what is going on and what you are going to do about it. And when are you going to do about it? When? Stop lying.
So that's what I say about Jess Phillips.
Sorry, guys. I'm just so fuming with Keir Starmer. I'm so fuming with everything around this. And it's not just Keir Starmer. So let's get this into perspective. It is basically, this has been going on and on and on. Snippets here and there for decades, and nothing is being done about it. So right now, basically, the people of this country want to have this out on the table in full view, and we want this thrashed out, and we want to get to the bottom of everything. You want to know what's going on with these grooming gangs, why they've been allowed to continue doing what they're doing, why people who have basically gone to the authorities have not been listened to. And this has just gone on and on and on. And we hear these horrific stories. We want to know what is the truth. And we want to know who knew. We want to know when they knew. And we want to know what did they do about it, if any. Guys, I am absolutely fuming about this. So Keir Starmer, yeah, I understand. He's feeling his collar's been felt. He's feeling hot under the collar. And so he should do. He headed up the DPP, the CPS, for 5 long years, he says. Well, we want to know what you did in those 5 long years. And to be honest with you, there are questions that still need to be answered about what you knew about Jimmy Savile, because this is part and parcel of it. What did you know about Jimmy Savile? We want to know exactly, and we want to see the evidence as well. Bring the receipts. Bring the receipts. Because if those receipts prove your innocence, then yeah, fantastic. But until you bring those receipts, there is a whiff around you, a whiff. And that whiff stinks. Guys, look after yourselves, look after each other, look after your children, because the authorities won't. Look after your children, guys. Look after your children. But make certain you come back to the next Toilet TV reaction. Guys, have a great day.